Hey, I'm Randy and I'm the Cheap Audio Man. Here at the Cheap Audio Man, we don't feel like hi-fi equipment, speakers, DACs, amps, turntables, receivers, subwoofers, 8-track players should cost more than taking the whole family on a cruise. That sounds like an awesome idea, and then you get there and you realize you're trapped on a sea-dwelling vessel, that there's a whole bunch of people, everything costs more than you thought it would. When you pull into a port, you have to wait in line, it's ridiculously sweltering hot, and the kids start freaking out. And these don't! Saturday Speaker Shootout DIY version. GR Research XLS Encore versus the Criton 1TD by CSS Audio. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about the Saturday DIY Shootout. Today's sponsor is 10mm sockets. We only sell 10mm sockets because chances are you've lost 20 of them. Instead of going out and buying a whole new socket set, just get some 10mm sockets from 10mm sockets. They're 30 bucks a piece, but that's still cheaper than buying a whole new socket set. 10mm sockets. Careful. Okay, the XLS Encore. This is the base kit. This does not come with all the upgrades, okay? Base kit. CSS Criton 1TD. This is the base kit of the CSS Criton 1TD. This one costs $250 for the kit, another $150 for the flat pack, if that's where you get it from, or it's another basically $200 for a Baltic Birch flat pack. This is done in Baltic Birch. This is done for a customer. Okay, so we're gonna use the pricing of the kit plus the flat pack. Okay, so $400 all in plus about $20 or $30 shipping. Okay, so let's say $430. The Criton is $694. That's $550 for the kit, another $145 for the flat pack. Okay, no shipping costs on that. So we have $440 versus $694. To be fair, okay. So the Encore is more affordable. Okay. Specs: the XLS Encore has a 6.5-inch woofer, a 1-inch soft dome tweeter. Frequency response is reported down to 55 hertz. And it doesn't give a upper limit, but I looked at the frequency response chart and it looks like about 20K. All right, so 55 to 20K, 87 dB, 8 ohms. The Criton is spec'd down to 40 hertz, okay? Up to 30,000 hertz, has a sensitivity, 87, 8 ohms. Has a 7-inch woofer and a 1-inch soft dome tweeter. Crossover components. I don't think it's any secret if you watch any of Danny's videos or GR Research's videos that he feels strongly about the level of capacitors, resistors, and inductors that he puts into his kits, builds, and things like that, and how he feels about lower cost components. All right? This is where these two companies' philosophies differ. They both offer a upgraded crossover. CSS Audio's, I think, is around 300 to 350. GR Research is around 250 all in if you get the tube connectors and things like that. Do they make a difference? Ultimately, that's up to you. I'm going to report on what I hear on the base kits here. I do have the upgraded crossover for the GR Research, which I bought and paid for. I bought the Encores and paid for them. CSS Audio sent me the Critons. They also sent me the upgraded crossover and the upgraded tweeters. So eventually, I will listen to them all. Danny actually recommended that I burn in the upgraded crossover for 400 hours. To me, that's quite a bit of time. And the good news is, even if you have to burn them in for 400 hours, it just means that I guess it's going to get better and better and better. All right? So, speaking of getting better, let's talk about sound. Let's talk about bass. Bass on both these speakers is remarkable. The extension and depth that the Critons hit, and they will hit 30 in your room. Well, they hit 31. I put it on a tone generator. They hit 31 hertz in room, in my office. Now, are you going to hit 31 in a bigger room? Probably not. But anechoic, it hits 40, okay? Hey, hitting low bass notes is great and all, but how's it sound? They both sound amazing. The texture and tone of bass on both of these are otherworldly awesome, and quite frankly, the best that I've heard out of any speaker that I've spent time with. The GR Research, while it doesn't hit as low as the Critons, it does hit, it does roll off very smoothly, and I was able to hear the impression of the enormity of Intergalactic by Beastie Boys on the GR Research. I felt the bass and enormity of Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys on the Criton. I have never heard bass clarity before until I heard the Encore, and that was the first speaker that I tested. Then I heard the Criton. I think the clarity and texture and tone of both of these speakers are very similar. What it comes down to is, do you want it to go lower, or are you happy with where the Encore is at? They're both fantastic. They're both amazing. I haven't heard bass from any speaker, including some towers, that I've heard out of the Criton. It's shocking. It's nearly unbelievable how much bass comes out of the Criton. Let's talk about mid-range. Mid-range. Once again, very similar story here. Mid-range on both speakers is fantastic. Female vocals, incredible on both. I will say on the GR Research, I felt like there's a little bit more, I wouldn't say clarity, but there's a little bit more presence with female vocals. In the upper mid-range, I feel like there's more presence with the Encore. It doesn't mean that there's not clarity and presence with the Criton. It's there. It's just not as apparent, okay? It's not on display as much. I'm not going into specific songs on here because the bottom line is it's great. They're both great. They're both shockingly great. They're the best that I've heard. Best mid-ranges I've ever heard. Shoot to Thrill, both fantastic. Both speakers. Comes in crunchy, has a ton of body. Criton probably has a bit more body. Electric guitars, sad but true. I felt like maybe the clarity was more apparent on the Encore, but the visceral nature was more apparent on the Criton. You could feel it in your chest. Not saying that the Encore wasn't great with electric guitars. It is. It's just that's where these two speakers are a little bit different. There is just a lot of meat on the bone on the Criton, okay? Where there's a little bit more, the impression of more clarity on the Encores. Let's talk about treble. Treble detail and clarity is amazing on both. It is more apparent on the Encore. There seems like there's more air going on with the Encore, and there's more layering in the upper frequencies with the Encore. The Critons are also amazing on the top end, not as apparent. Doesn't lead the charge. I really feel like treble clarity, openness, space, depth of the treble is more apparent on the Encores. Not saying it's not there, and if anything, the Criton has the impression of depth and space, but it comes from the mid-range and lower areas. Again, fantastic on both. A little bit of a different vibe, a little bit of a different flavor between the Encores and the Criton. What are my final thoughts? Final thoughts on these two speakers are they are both amazing. You cannot go wrong with either of these speakers. They're both great for different reasons, and they're both great for the same reasons. Those same reasons are texture, tone, clarity, soundstage, imaging. Amazing. Amazing. I didn't do soundstage and imaging because they're both just awesome. Okay? They're both awesome at soundstage and imaging. These speakers differ where the bass leads the charge and the lower mid-range leads the charge on the Critons, where the upper mid-range and the treble leads the charge on the Encores. Ultimately, what you want is up to you. Near field, small room, Encores are probably the way to go. On a budget, Encores are the way to go. Medium-sized room, I'm not saying the Critons won't work in near field. They do. But if you're in a medium, larger room, or even a small room and you don't have a sub, Critons, okay? They're amazing. Different reasons why they're amazing, but the same reasons for why they're amazing. If you have the inclination, both of these are an extreme value when you think about what you're getting from a sound perspective. Is it difficult? Sometimes it can be to put these kits together. There's people like me that'll put them together for a nominal fee. Patrons get a discount. So these are my two favorite speakers right now. The funny thing is they can both live together. There's enough difference here that there is no reason why you couldn't have one, put it up for a while, take it down, put the other up. Because there is a acclimation period to when I switched these out, and it took me a little while to kind of reset my brain and then start to truly appreciate what both of these have to offer. These are available in different configurations, as I said. With GR Research, you can get the upgraded crossover. With the Criton, you can get a different tweeter, and you have to get a different crossover with a different tweeter, or you can get a different tweeter with an upgraded crossover. You can get the base tweeter with an upgraded crossover. So there's a lot of different options out there. If you're remotely interested, I would get either of these or both of them because they're awesome. Okay? If you want to support the channel, you can. Sign up for Amazon HD Music for free. Click on the link, scroll down to the bottom, click Try HD. I have a few playlists in the description, my test tracks. I also have They Satanic Panic, and I also have Leg Warmers, which apparently I misspelled, but I don't know. Also, any of the links, except for these two, because I don't have affiliate relationships with either of them. So if you buy anything from CSS Audio or from GR Research, I ain't getting a dime, and that's fine, because these are both awesome, and you should consider both of them. You should just buy both of them. I'm just kidding. Actually, you know what though? If you bought both of them, $700, $440, whatever it is, you're getting some awesome speakers for like less than $1,200. Okay. Also, you can sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night, we have patron-only Zooms. We have patron-only content, and you better believe there's going to be patron-only content for this video. So, don't binge watch Netflix or Hulu or anything. Binge listen through the XLS Encores or the CSS Criton and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.